Hey folks, it's Chris here. I'm just recording a quick note to let you know that I recorded the first part of the podcast using the wrong mic, stupidly. We realised after about 10 minutes and sort it out. So I apologise for the low quality audio at the start. If it offends you really badly, which I don't blame you for, then just skip ahead to about 10 minutes or so when we're back to the normal nice mics. So sorry about that and enjoy the show. Thank you very much.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 7 of the inEXP podcast. My name is Chris McCormick, and I'm here with James Jimmy Pap Shafford. Hi, James.
Hello. Hello.
And today we're going to be talking about games.
Yes. Same as we do every day.
Yes. And
all right.
How are you? How are you, dude?
Oh, not bad, thank you. And yourself?
Yeah, very good. It's nice to be talking to you across the interwebs.
It certainly is. The world we live in, eh?
I know.
Technology.
Things you can do.
Good stuff. Well, I'd like to hear about what you've been playing lately.
Would you?
So please tell us.
Well, I've only, aside from the toilet game of the week, I've only really played 2 games. And I've
all right.
only really played one with any sort of depth. And you might be surprised to know that it's not The Witcher.
So hang on, let me get this straight. For probably the first time that we've done this podcast, you've not actually played any Witcher this week.
I haven't played any Witcher, and it's upsetting.
Oh wow! Well, it must have been a good game that you've been playing in its stead.
Yeah, so I've just been continuing on with Arkham Knight.
Cool.
And it is a good game.
It's a good game. Glad to hear it. So, any elaboration on that?
Well, I'm still getting the Batmobile rammed down my throat.
Oh yeah.
Which it's kind of all right, but I think last time we were talking about it, I was saying I was in the middle of a mission and it kept calling the Batmobile for some obscure reason as to like what you need it for, and it got worse for that. It was like a bit of the way blocked by a pipe, and Batman's like, I'm going to need the Batmobile to move this. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake, you don't need the Bat, just like go round it or something, or
Yeah.
And then so move that pipe, met somewhere else, and then there was a broken elevator. So well, we're gonna have to figure out how I can like move this elevator, and of course the Batmobile then winches itself onto it, and you have to put him into the elevator.
Oh, okay.
And then control the Batmobile from outside of it to move you up and down.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can picture that.
Yeah. And then I came out, I got back in the Batmobile for a boss fight. It's just
bloody hell.
I know. But the boss fight was actually quite fun. There was the Arkham Knight again in a helicopter and a load of tanks. And it was actually quite. I died a few times. I remember last time I was saying that I was finding it quite easy to win the fights, even though it wasn't hard. But that one I lost a few times before because
okay. That's good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It was nice to have a bit more of a challenge, but I've noticed it just. I've thought this with the combat and the sort of Batmobile combat. It's just like it becomes a bit of a clusterfuck. Like I was just kind of in this little squared off area, and you've got a helicopter firing at you, and you've got a load of tanks, and you see their sort of sights. So when you're within their sights, so the sights are blue when they're aiming at you, and then if you go within those sights, it turns red, and they just like end up going all over the place. And you've got this helicopter firing missiles at you at the same time. It's just like, what's going on? But it's kind of
sound pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's a bit mad, but it's good fun. But I think they just go a bit over the board with it because I've had some since where there's just been so many that it just drags on. Like it could be, and it's the same way I think with the fighting. Like you end up with like taking on 20 men, and a few of them can revive men, and some of them have guns, some of them are throwing objects,
Cool.
Some of them are bigger, and you require a certain sort of beat down way to kill them, and so you can't be.
Are the enemies still polite though? Do they still kind of kindly take it in turns to fight you?
Well, sort of, but not exactly. It's pretty easy to be shot by someone who isn't even in your view.
Oh, okay.
And that pisses me off a bit, because someone might throw something at you or shoot you or something, and you can't even see him from your angle because there's just so many people knocking about. So you'll be getting on beating someone, then someone will run in and you'll see that you have to do a counter, but then someone from the distance might do something else. Or you might knock someone down and then someone will go and revive him. It just seems to drag on.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, I found it quite interesting.
It might be partly to do with being on hard difficulty. That might have something to do with it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure, yeah, of course, I think it'll take longer to finish off enemies than it would on the easier ones, but just, yeah, I don't know, I've kind of been a bit, everyone raves about the Batman combat, and I've been a bit underwhelmed by it. I get a bit bored. I think,
okay. Bit repetitive.
Yeah, I just think it drags on. As I say with the tanks, I think, I could have just shot 10 of them, would have been happy, that would have been fine, rather than 20.
Yeah.
Same with the guys, I could have just, fight a group of 5 guys, that would have been fine, I don't have to do 10. Or fight 10 and then another 5 running, and another, it's just But, it's a bit, yeah, I don't know, I guess that sounds quite negative, but I'm enjoying it enough to carry on with it.
Okay, that's something at least then.
Well, yeah, and I do think I'll finish it. I've kind of got it in mindset to finish it. But what I was thinking is that I probably, after this, my experiences so far, I probably wouldn't. And I did the same thing with Assassin's Creed. I wouldn't then think to buy another one afterwards. Say there was another.
Oh, okay. You'll have kind of had your fill then.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm playing it. I'm glad I'm seeing what everyone kind of raves about. But there's just a few things that just get on my nerves a little bit.
That's understandable. No, that's good. Can we just pause there?
Yeah.
Can you double check that Skype and Audacity are using the right mic?
And we're back.
Okay. We're back.
So sorry about that.
Chris, do you want to explain what issues we've had?
Yeah, so I've just been recording with the wrong microphone. So that might have sounded a bit shit. So sorry about that. I also had the microphone the wrong way round. So the one that I wasn't recording with and should have been was the wrong way round anyway. So
double whammy.
James was hearing me very muffled. So, but we're back on it now. We're back on track.
We're back on it.
So sorry if that quality there was a bit crap. What were we saying? What were we up to?
So you'd been talking about Arkham Knight. Was there anything else you wanted to say, or did you want to move on?
No, I think that's it really. I'm still enjoying it. As I say, a few things I found a bit frustrating, but certainly not enough for me not to want to carry on. And there's quite a few more characters have come into it, and I'm enjoying seeing more villains and kind of good guys, just getting a bit more of the lore. So everything's developing at a nice pace. I think I should be able to finish it off in the next few weeks.
Lovely jubbly. So, anything else besides Batman?
Yeah, there's only been one other, as I said earlier, and that's this is a bit of a random one. It was a suggestion from a friend of mine. I think he'd seen it on Twitch or something.
All right.
And I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called I Want to Be the Boshy.
Nope.
No, well, that's
not a clue.
It's not overly surprising. It's a fan-made game based on another game called I Want to Be the Guy, and apparently people have described it as one of the hardest games ever made.
Oh no!
And
I hate stuff like that.
Oh, you wouldn't enjoy this. I didn't enjoy it. It's it's almost just like it's just been made to be extremely hard. It's not.
Bloody hell!
It's not like it's an indie fan-made thing, so it's free. So we can put a link on the website through to where you can download it if people do want to play it. But there's quite a few, like,
if they're crazy and masochistic.
Well, yeah, that's it. You probably just find yourself ripping your hair out. It's I don't know. I guess it's kind of, well, it's not really. It's like Super Meat Boy in the sense that it's a kind of hard platformer, but yeah, it's different. It doesn't seem to be so much. Well, I guess it is level based, but it seems to be kind of continuous with save points rather than like split it up into stages where you select them from a menu. It just seems to keep going. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
But it's yeah, you can tell it's fan made because it's just used assets from other franchises and stuff. Like the
Oh really?
Oh yeah, like there's I haven't. The only ones I've really seen myself is so the main character is like a little hazard sign with legs. So like an exclamation mark, but you can change him pretty much straight away. And some of the things you could change him to were like Super Meat Boy was one, Yoshi was another, Pedo Bear was an option.
Excellent.
Trying to think of who some of the others were. I think Mega Man might be one. So you could just like, just ripping them from other franchises. And I didn't actually play much myself. I didn't find it very fun. It's just really easy to die. But I did watch some gameplay of it, for like a guy doing a speed run. And yeah, some of the bosses are like Hello Kitty, a giant Hello Kitty, a giant Mario, and stuff like that. And just Street Fighter guys are in there.
So is it for people with too much time on their hands that have the actual chance to master these kind of ridiculous challenges? Yeah,
I think if that's your kind of thing, it's as I say, it's mainly platforming, so it's mainly about timing your jumps and stuff. It had quite an interesting mechanic in that you've got a double jump, but if you collect these little gems or whatever they are in the air as you double jump, then you get another double jump. So you have to time your jumps with that. But then there's a very interesting thing in that if you shoot a save point, you save at that part and you restart there. So if you time your jump perfect and shoot the save point there, then you can restart and you've got your jump after the save, if you know what I mean.
Bloody hell. That's some next level stuff, that is.
And honestly, like, it was in the tutorial, I struggled to get like just over this gap where it was teaching you how to do it. It's just but I'm not very good on sort of PC keyboard controls anyway. So
no.
And yeah, so you're using the arrow buttons, and I think you can change what you use, but I think for me it was ZX and R and the arrow buttons.
Oh yeah, that's quite a common sort of thing. ZX and then the arrow keys, was it?
Yeah, so yeah, ZX and the arrow keys, and then R was the restart. So if you'd saved on the save point. But one thing I will say, a few of the ways you could die made me laugh. I thought it was quite creative. So you do the tutorial, and then you get straight to the save part, and I saved like a save icon, and I shot it, and then I think it said "fuck you" and then shot me. So, like, even like
serves you right.
Yeah, even the save points, they're a happy face, and then you shoot them and they go mad. So it does save your game, but also you have to kind of dodge after you've shot them because they get pissed off and shoot at you. Another one was I left the mouse pointer on the screen, and then it started moving its way towards my character. And then killed me. Yeah, so my mouse pointer killed me.
As you say, that's pretty creative. I mean, it sounds completely stressful and not fun in the slightest, but that's original at least.
Yeah. Well, there's like spikes and... Well, there was just spikes everywhere towards the beginning, and it was just kind of manoeuvring around them. I died so many times just like doing the first bit, and then I got to a second bit. I was trying to make my way across the screen. I was just like, I'm not enjoying this. I kept dying, and I thought it's only going to get harder. I was on the easiest difficulty as well, which had put like extra platforms that are heart, like there's a little heart symbol in them that basically says you don't get these if you're on any of the harder difficulties.
Wow.
There was a nice little penguin at the start as well, and I assumed that was an enemy, and I shot it, and then it just turned into loads of penguins and killed me. So that was interesting.
Oh,
but yeah,
good. Never trust a penguin.
No. Well, I think they were friendly penguins, so I shouldn't have shot them. But I didn't realise that.
Oh,
I think it was a penguin.
You're right.
Looked a bit like a penguin. But yeah, so if you enjoy an extreme challenge of the platform variety, I guess
which I don't.
no. But if any of the listeners do, then that's one to check out. It made me think a bit of that N++, because we were talking.
Oh yeah.
I guess if N++ is your kind of bag, then maybe this is something you'd quite enjoy, especially with it being free. So
yeah, you can't go wrong.
But yeah, that's it for me.
Well, I'll start talking about what I've been on with then.
Please do.
I went home to Gone Home.
Oh, excellent. How's that going?
And I did lots more walking, lots more reading, and I completed it.
So you read your way to the end?
I read my way to the end. Yeah, there's plenty more reading to go. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. I don't want to spoil too much, but kind of the plot and the ending, it somehow makes you want to carry on and get to the end and find out what happens. But it's so completely ordinary. There's nothing particularly unusual or, I don't know, horrific or overexciting about what actually happens.
Yeah.
But I still felt compelled to get through it as quickly as possible. You know, find out what actually happened in the end. So, as I said, I don't really want to spoil it. So I've got to tread carefully with what I say. But you find out why your mum and dad aren't there and why your sister isn't there.
Yeah.
That's for different reasons.
Oh, okay.
Was
it the sister really that told you not to go in the first place? Oh, not to look for them.
Say that again.
Was it the sister that told you not to look for them in the first place or something when you...
Yes.
Okay.
So yes, she leaves a note saying, don't look.
Yeah.
Don't try and find out where I've gone or something like that.
Okay.
But obviously you do.
Yeah, that's
you don't just go, oh, okay then, go into the menu, quit game, never play that again. Yeah, I really found myself getting quite engaged with it. It does a really good job of kind of creating this story of the family life. You go through and see what they've been up to over the years, the kind of relationships that they have. Obviously they have some relationships that are a bit tested between them, which is quite normal with parents and teenage girls.
Wait, what?
We relationships, you know, not that kind of relationship, a family relationship.
Oh, right.
You know? Yeah, okay.
Wait, so what you're trying to tell me is the dad was messing with the teenage daughter?
Well, actually, I don't want to spoil anything, but not directly that.
Someone was getting messed with.
There's something of that ilk, slightly subtly kind of referred to at some point, but it's not that. It's something a bit different.
It's not explicit, or is it?
Well,
is it implied?
I don't want to say too much. Yes, it's implied.
Okay,
it's implied, but it's not between them. Bit of a long story,
right?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to recommend you play it, but then we found out that it was coming to PS4, but now it's not, which is a shame.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Well, I might as well just read the story then.
Well, yeah, that's it. Go on Wikipedia. One of the main parts of the story really is about your sister's sexual awakening.
Right.
I guess it's a mild spoiler, but she's a lesbian.
Okay.
And she gradually finds out that she's a lesbian. Well, yeah, and then you find this note where she's writing about her getting down and dirty with her girlfriend. But then you go, no, I don't want to read any more of that. And I was like, what? I was trying to read that.
Yeah, what?
And the game just stops you and you can't read it anymore. I was furious.
It's a bit like being cock-blocked by the game.
It was. I was disappointed by that.
I think that's quite funny that this character has pretty much spent the entire game just rummaging through her family's private stuff.
Yeah, complete invasion of privacy.
But she drew the line at that, yeah.
which is fair, and that's kind of realistic. I don't think you would want to read about all the explicit details of what your sister's been up to.
Yeah.
There's not much challenge at all in the game. It generally is just walking around and reading. There are a few, not even puzzles. A few things are locked, and you have to find a key, find a key code. It might be a door, you've got to find the key elsewhere, or a safe that you've got to find the combination to. But there's only a few of those around the house, and they're fairly simple to work out. I accidentally missed one safe, which I then looked up afterwards, what was actually in it, because I couldn't be bothered to go back and do it. But yeah, it's pretty simple. There's not much that it throws in your way, but the few roadblocks that it does place, at least it kind of shapes how you access the story and makes you access it in the right order. Otherwise, you could just run straight to the end and miss out everything in between.
So how do they do a roadblock in this sense? Because I'm just picturing this house that you can just scroll around, walk around. So do they lock off certain areas?
Yeah. So the attic's locked, the basement's locked. There's some secret passages which you discover. As I say, some safes, and there's a couple of lockers which you need to find the combination to or whatever. And as you naturally progress through and get to the end of one area, you'll find a key which then opens the next area.
Yep.
So it's quite clever how it funnels you along in the right sort of order. That's quite well thought out. But yeah, I recommend it. It's not the most action-packed game at all. In fact, it's not action-packed in the slightest. But it's worth playing. Especially if you like lesbians.
Yeah, well... Yeah, is there many games you can recommend for people that love lesbians? I remember there was that one years and years ago that got a bit of a bad rep because it was mainly just showing off two main characters that were lesbians and just putting them in provocative...
Oh, right. Not sure I know about that one.
Oh, well, this was like back in the... this was PlayStation.
Oh, wow. So some nice blocky polygonal lesbians then.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I'll move on from there. So we had the PS Plus update, and I did briefly get round to trying out most of them, but none of them for any long, significant period of time. So I quickly went on Limbo. That's still as shit as I remember it being.
Yep. So how long did you give it?
30 seconds or so, and then uninstalled it from a hard drive and never looked back. That's
interesting you say that, because when I played it, I remember enjoying the start more than the rest of it.
Okay.
Like, there's a giant spider you have to trick.
Yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah.
And I thought that was quite fun and clever, and I enjoyed doing it. And then as the game went on, the puzzles got a bit kind of floaty and spacey, and I didn't enjoy it as much as the dark wood area at the start. But
that's fair.
You obviously didn't even like that.
No, just don't know. It rubs me up the wrong way. Not a fan of that game. Don't know why.
Well, at least you gave it another chance.
Yeah, I gave it a shot. There was Stealth Inc. 2. That was another game. It's actually quite good. It's quite clever, and it has a surprising amount of character to it. So there's quite a few sort of indie 2D side-scrolling platform stealth games. That's quite a sort of common genre in the indie space. But this one does feel quite like it has its own personality. There's a few funny little jokes, like the walls often have writing on to kind of communicate with you, and that they can say funny things sometimes. And you're one of these little clones, which almost feel a little bit minion-like. I mean, they don't look like minions from Despicable Me, I mean.
Yeah.
But they almost have that sort of air about them, that they're quite small and daft and cutesy in a way.
Right.
So that's cool. That's not bad. But as I say, didn't spend much time with it. I tried out Castlestorm on my Vita. It's kind of a castle defense and sieging sort of game. One thing I found is that it almost felt quite difficult to play on the Vita's screen. There's a lot of kind of fine aiming. You sort of got to aim bow and arrow or your siege weapons or something.
Is it only for
and some
Vita?
of the time? No, it's also on PS3.
Oh, okay.
I think. Yeah, and I just found it a bit too fiddly sometimes.
Yeah.
To actually aim properly, but other than that, it was quite good. Yeah, it was okay. I might play it more, maybe, if I can be bothered.
Yeah, that sounds like you won't.
Yeah. What else was there? Oh, Lara Croft, Temple of Osiris. So I played this on my PS4. This seems decent. Might be worth a shot. Us trying it co-op sometime.
Yeah, I think that's the emphasis is on co-op with that kind of.
It is.
Isn't it? So.
Yeah, I mean, I played it for a little bit single player, and I thought it was okay, single player. But I was like, oh, I bet it's better with a teammate. Mm. So I went online, just matched up with a stranger.
Oh.
Yeah, you can see where this is going.
Did they send you a dick pic?
No, sadly none of that.
Oh yeah, that's a shame.
But we didn't play together very well, is what I'll say. I kept killing him accidentally. I kept accidentally exploding him off the side, which he probably wasn't too happy about. He was probably cursing me.
Probably, yeah. So how did you manage that? How do you...
Well, yeah, see, I thought there wouldn't be friendly fire, but you've got, these little bombs almost and stuff like that, and I think you can blow up some of the environment, and I just kept blowing him up, killing him. It was probably fuming. Poor lad.
Oh, well.
And then he seemed to get a bit pissed off, and he was kind of... I think in protest, he was kind of standing there and refusing to go any further. And then he killed me, and then he left. So that was a pretty good first experience.
Yeah, he had his revenge. Yeah, see, this is the thing. Getting matched with people online is just like, fuck that. I'll do that stuff with someone I know, but otherwise...
What's even worse is that it's not proper drop-in, drop-out. And I found this with Dead Space 3, which was... It's a really weird idea. For whatever reason, Dead Space, in space, really atmospheric horror game, they're like, oh, why don't you throw co-op into it? Which is a terrible idea. But anyway, this was like Dead Space 3 in that you can't smoothly drop in and out. When he left, it actually reset me back to the start of that area.
Yeah.
So I completely wasted my time, basically. I'd played with him for a few minutes, he left, and then I was back to square one. I couldn't just resume from where he went. It kicked me back to the start.
That's quite a massive issue, I'd say. I would not want to play that with, a random person, knowing that if they left or there was a problem with connection or whatever, you're going to lose that progress.
Very frustrating. Very frustrating. So, yeah, it might be worth us teaming up together because we know we'll probably kill each other, but at least we shouldn't rage quit.
I'd like to think not. It must be pretty bad if one of us ended up rage quitting.
Yeah, we're not friends anymore. We fall out so badly on Lara Croft, Temple of Osiris.
No more podcasts get made.
No, that'd be sad, wouldn't it?
Oh, very sad.
Now that's other than my feature game, which I've got a surprising amount to say about. Mm-hmm. We'll get to that in a bit. I've just got a few more games to mention, but they're not actually games I've been playing myself.
Right.
So this week, I've actually successfully got Kaz into a bit of gaming.
Oh, nice. What, beyond Temple Run?
Beyond Temple Run, yeah. And Mario Kart, which she was partial to now and again. She's been playing the Splatoon single-player campaign.
Mm-hmm.
That seemed pretty good from what I was watching. it's quite good how they'd done it. I didn't think there'd be much to it, but there's like 30 levels, and they're all kind of a bit puzzly, but also mostly sort of fighting the enemies, and there's some quite good boss fights, quite tricky ones. So that seemed pretty cool. She was enjoying that. Very briefly played Ducktales, although she wasn't really digging that. Ducktales Remastered.
Well, like the one from the SNES?
Yeah, NES.
Oh, was it
I don't know if it was on the SNES as well, but yeah, I played it on the NES. It's weird that I'd never played it before.
I seem to remember that looking really good back in the day.
Oh, what, the original one?
Yeah, like I never had it, but I played it at a friend's and enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, I bloody loved DuckTales on the NES. It's one of the first games I ever completed, because back then games were super hard.
Yeah.
And it wasn't mega easy, from what I remember, but it was, for a child, it was doable. I stuck at it. I think it took me a year before I finally completed it, and obviously there was no saving. It was like Mega Man. There was, several levels, but you had to do it all in one go. You couldn't save and come back at a later date.
I remember that. So you'd have to leave your console on overnight, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. Nightmare. At least back then, they were kind of passively cooled, so they didn't sort of have the fans whirring and stuff. It was, old tech. Yeah, it was weird because the first level is entirely new. It's nothing to do with the original at all. And it kind of sets the scene. But it threw me off because I thought, if they completely changed it, is it not even remotely like the original?
Seems a bit of a risky strategy, that. I'd have put it at the end, like a bonus at the end.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Start.
Because, to me, and I spoke to Ash at work about this as well, actually, I don't think he even made it past the first level. He told me he tried it and it was completely different. But yeah, once you get to the end of this level, suddenly it says now you can select what level you want to play, and it takes you to the hub where you select the level, and bloody hell, it brings up the screen where you select the level, and it starts blaring out like a beautifully remastered version of the original kind of theme tune for the level select.
Oh yeah. And
that took me back like 15 years.
Some serious nostalgia.
Or however much it would have been. Yeah, like instantly. I've probably not played it since I was about 7 or 8 years old. But as soon as I saw that screen and heard the music, I was right back there. It was amazing how I instantly remembered it and it took me back. That was pretty cool.
So what was that on?
So that's on PS3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's remastered. Nice new pretty graphics. Nice new music. So Kaz was playing that, but we didn't actually get past the first level. I might have to now play it. She wasn't overly keen, so I might now play it for nostalgia's sake and play some of the old levels, which will feel a bit more familiar.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan.
Lastly, she's been playing quite a lot of Ratchet and Clank as well. She said to me that she just mentioned to me that she used to like the Ratchet and Clank games on the PS2 back in the day. And I was like, oh, I think a while ago I got a Ratchet and Clank game on PS Plus, and I checked and I had. So I downloaded it for her, and she's been playing loads of that. She's been enjoying that. I can't remember which one it was. There's loads of Ratchet and Clank games on PS3. Is it All for One, maybe? I don't know, something like that.
No, I never played them, so I'm not much use with them.
No, there was loads of them. Tools of Destruction and Crack in Time. So if she keeps enjoying that, I'll have to get hold of some of the other ones for her.
Was that Crack in Time or Crack in Time? As in, I had a crack in time at that party.
Oh, it's a brilliant time. No, Crack in Time.
Okay.
Yeah, to clarify. So it's been pretty cool to see her gaming a bit, because she rarely can get that much into games, so it's been nice to see her playing that. That's cool.
That is cool.
So I think that's all I've got to mention.
Yeah, so before we move on, I thought it's probably also worth mentioning that I've actually done some tabletop gaming.
Oh, have you?
I have. And you know about this, but you've obviously forgotten.
Probably.
And that is because somebody at our work is developing a board game.
Oh, of course.
So this is Jason at work, and he's making a game called Death Wish, and he's put a prototype together, and it's a board game all about you have to be the first player to die. So you have to try. It's a card game, and there was basically it's up to 8 players. I think it's recommended 3 to 8 players, and so there was 8 of us from work got together to sort of do a play test to see. His main plan for the evening was to not really tell us what to do, just give us the instructions.
Oh, that's cool. So see how well you work it out then.
Exactly, yeah, to see whether there's any gaps in his rules, which we couldn't get our head around, or just to see if we played it wrong or anything like that based on the rules.
So how did you get on?
On the whole, we did very well. I think because he was there, there was times when we were a bit lazy. We were like, oh, we'll just ask him rather than... Whereas normally you'd just crack on, wouldn't you?
Yeah, sure.
There was a few things that we had to clarify with him, or tried to clarify, but I don't think that was really... Yeah, I thought, well, this reminds me of just like other times I've played games and had to reread things a few times to get it, especially if you think like Monopoly and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, sure.
I don't think it was any different from most other games board games I've played where I've read through the rules. I thought it was similar to how it had been with those. So it took us a bit of a while and discussion to figure it out. But
okay,
but we did. I think it was pretty much spot on. I think it'll make a few tweaks, but
I think when you're designing a game like that, it's a toss up between making something really simple that everyone can get straight away but doesn't have much depth, and then making something complicated that people can keep coming back to and get their teeth stuck into, but might be quite confusing for a newcomer. So I think you've got to find that balance, haven't you?
Yeah, I imagine it's very tough, and it's the same with video games as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So some games, some of the best games, you just don't enjoy at the start because it's too much for I didn't enjoy Witcher 3 for a while because I was too busy trying to figure everything out.
Yeah. Cool.
But no, once we got rolling, we loved it. We played 2 games. The first was pretty much figuring everything out, and then the second one we were a lot more kind of on it. And as I say, it's this the rule is you want to be the first player to die, and you're kind of matching up cards to get diseases, and some diseases are rarer than others.
Okay.
And you can kind of screw over other players if you can kind of see by the way they play what kind of diseases they're looking for. And there's these cards that are called outbreak cards as well, which kind of, if you manage to get these cards, that they give you certain advantages. Like I got knocked out at one point, so because I was in the lead, in the sense that I'd had like the kind of disease worth the most points. So somebody got this outbreak card and they were like, put me unconscious for a round. So I had to...
All right, crafty.
Yeah, so I missed a turn and just had to play dead for a bit and stuff like that. And so that's really good. Really good game, and he's looking to get it on Kickstarter soon. I'll put a link through to his. I think the web. I don't think the website's live yet, but when it is, I'll put a link from our site through to it on the show notes. And
yeah, definitely. If anyone's interested in checking it out, that'd be cool.
And there's a Facebook page as well, so I'll link to that.
Yep, sweet,
cool.
All right. So we'll move on to our features now. And I'd like to hear all about your toilet game of the week.
All about colon.
Yeah, I've actually forgotten the name. So in the notes here, I've actually written something : something.
Deadlock Online. But the colon is after the Deadlock. So Deadlock : Online.
Okay, Deadlock : Online. Okay, cool.
That's the
one. Take it away.
So,
tell us how you got on.
We were discussing this. It's kind of top down. It's a top down shooter, a top down online shooter. It's fair to say, but it's not completely top down, and it's kind of a bit of a
slightly angled.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just to put the image in their head. So, and the focus is, well, unsurprisingly for the name, the focus is on online play, and it's twin stick. So with the left stick you move the character around, and with the right you shoot. And you kind of, it's a bit fiddly, to be honest. That's
the problem with touchscreens, isn't it?
Yeah, getting the controls for like touchscreen gaming can be a bit of a nightmare, I imagine. I think with this, it's kind of like, it's a bit fiddly, but that's part of the charm, because it's relatively simple in the sense that you walk around, you shoot, you reload, and you can throw a grenade. But I end up playing people of very high level, and you could kill them as well, and everyone could look a bit spazzy at times, because with the right stick, where you're trying to shoot, you kind of just have to hold it out to the side, to the direction you want to shoot, and then just rotate it round and so you're always shooting once you've started. If you know what I mean, it's not like playing on a console where you'll hit a shoulder button to shoot, and it'll just be one shot. It's kind of like just constant firing or nothing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. So it's going to be pretty chaotic then. Yeah,
and there's bullets flying everywhere. And I know you were looking forward to me playing online because I hate it, but it was actually fine. I started offline just to get an idea of the rules, and
that was sensible.
Yeah, and I think I had to as well. I think I was on a train, so the signal was crap anyway. So even if I'd wanted to go straight online, I couldn't. But it definitely encourages you to go online, because you can't collect points offline. Like, so you can do the play against bots, but you won't collect any EXP. And so
no, that's fair.
Yeah, well, exactly. And but this EXP gives you a rank, which I think is mainly just to show how much you played the game. But also when you level up, you get points to spend on better weapons and armor and stuff. And that's
cool.
I'd definitely say that's my main criticism. Like, when you start, you are shit, because you've got no armor, and you've got the shittest gun, which is like an Uzi. So if you
that's the problem with even proper online shooters, isn't it? Like Battlefield is particularly bad for that, and COD. You've got to play, like, not only are you a beginner, so you're crap anyway and haven't got the skills, but people who've been playing for hours have really good gear.
Yeah, exactly.
So it suffers from the same issue then.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say it was so, and I felt it, because I was going on and I was like, I've got this Uzi, and it doesn't seem to hit from very close, and when it does, it doesn't seem to do much damage, and I'd seem to die in really quick, and I was like, that guy seems to be wearing some helmet, that guy's got some heavy armour, that guy's got some sort of rifle with a sight on it, and I'm running around with this fucking Uzi. I was like, yeah, this, and even playing offline against the bots, like some of the bots had, or most of the bots had better weapons and armour than I did. So I was just like, this must be an equipment thing. And thankfully, it doesn't take too long to get stuff. I imagine you can buy points, but that's not, as you know, that's not in my nature. So,
of course not. That's not what it's all about. It's free to play, goddammit.
Exactly. But yeah, so it's quite interesting how so you get points from ranking up, but you can also get them by doing offers and watching videos. So you watch ads, and obviously that makes them a revenue, and then they give you a point. And so you can do that twice a day. And then also there's all these infinite offers for points where you download and play other apps.
Other apps.
I did a fair bit of that, just like the really simple ones, which would just literally download this and start a game. Or, download this and open it. So I did that for a load of stuff I didn't want or need, like a torch, a load of games I didn't want, bloody-blah, just to get some points to buy some better gear. Which was fine, apart from sometimes it didn't acknowledge the point, so that wound me up a bit. After I'd gone through yeah, so that's another criticism I had of it.
You see, that's the thing with free-to-play games for me. I'd rather just pay a few quid and have the whole game without having to jump through all these hoops.
Well, I think...
But... I don't know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. But what I would say with this is that in some respects, it's progression as well. So it's not just you can get these points from leveling up, and that is quite good.
Okay.
In the sense that once you've got some semi-decent equipment, you can go online and you start doing well against people, and then you get a bit more, and then you can kind of upgrade. But I just saved up and went straight from like an Uzi to a rifle that was pretty good. But
that's cool.
There's quite. I didn't realise when I was just paying for all this stuff, but there's quite a big like. They've done it quite well in terms of like choosing your weapons and your kind of armour, because I went for a heavy helmet and a heavy vest and a pretty strong gun, but my character is absolutely slow as fuck, and his range of vision isn't great either. So
right.
So like I didn't realise at first, but actually, yeah, the amount of the map that I can see with this character is less than what other people who say had.
I respect that. That's quite a good way of balancing it, isn't it? So everyone doesn't just run for the heaviest armour and the most powerful gun. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, especially with stuff like capture the flag as well, where you want to get quickly across the place. So
yeah,
I didn't really think about it until after I'd actually had this stuff, and I was like, oh, there is actually some disadvantages here to what I've bought. So that was quite nice. But on the whole, I recommend it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because you're not a fan of shooters, really, are you? And you're not a fan of online games, particularly.
No, it's not something I play often.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed this one, to some extent.
Yeah, no, I definitely did enjoy it, especially when it was going right, and I had some really good games. But the only other my final criticism is that I did get disconnected quite a few times, and that.
Oh right.
And like we were saying earlier about Tomb Raider, that I got disconnected after doing games where I'd killed loads of people. I was next to the fucking Wi-Fi, so shouldn't have been disconnected.
No.
And I wouldn't get any of the XP. Or the XP for.
Ooh, that's annoying, isn't it?
For those kills and stuff. So, especially with seeing as the games are like 5 minutes long, and you might dump 4 minutes and then get disconnected for some odd reason. And sometimes players like jumped all over the place as well, like as if there was like a problem with connection. You couldn't quite see where they were, so like they just
really bad ping.
Yeah. They did, just jump from where you were shooting to behind you with a shotgun. It's like, oh,
I'm guessing they've either got really bad dedicated servers, or it might be on like P2P networks. So if someone's got a crappy internet connection and they're hosting it, then it'll be a mess.
Yeah,
it might be it, possibly.
So I did have a few.
Bit of a shame.
Few problems with that.
The main question is, did you manage to clear out your colon?
Oh, absolutely.
So
thoroughly.
It's nice and open and clean and free now.
Yeah, totally.
That's good.
No build up left. It's brilliant.
Excellent. Well, I'll introduce you to the next toilet game for you to play this week.
Oh yes.
I was having a good look through, and I kind of whittled this down to one of two. Went for this one in the end. So, like Deadlock, it's another game which has been on iOS for years, and they finally brought it over to Android.
Okay, cool.
So again, it's only come out very recently onto the better mobile operating system.
Controversial.
Very controversial. And the name of this one is Super Quick Hook.
So it's about a really quick hook, like the hook shot.
Yeah, kind of. Similar, I think.
Excellent.
Yeah. I'll give you a little read of the blurb. Conquer Eagle Mountain with the help of your trusty grappling hook. Swing and run your way through meadows, frost-tinged fields, ice caverns, volcanic caves and more. Find secrets, loot and special encounters. Race against your friends. Explore peaceful landscapes, or try to outrun an endless avalanche.
It's got a nice mix there.
It has, hasn't it? It's got a bit of everything. Yeah, can't complain at that. I thought this one looked quite fun. I think it's a mixture. I think it's got some structured levels, but then it's also got kind of an endless runner element to it. Except, I guess, because you've got a grappling hook, it's an endless swinger. So there's going to be lots of swinging going on. Because what you do, you don't just grapple and climb up. You actually use your hook to swing about all over the place. Are you partial to a bit of swinging here and there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be nice to try a different form of swinging, because I'm tired of the normal variety.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
it'll be a fresh twist.
Got to add some variety in there. So I regret to inform you that you will have to pay some of your hard-earned money for this one. It's a total of £1.91.
£1.91.
Yeah, can you stretch to that, do you think?
Oh, I don't know. 150. Would
150.
150 would have been. I'll try and haggle with them on the Play Store.
It's worth a try, yeah. Fire an email over to the developer.
Right, yeah, no, so I'll buy that, that's fine. And, yeah, I'll look forward to it. But I've got one question.
Yes.
A bit like the good old, let's have a look what you could have won. What was the contending game?
Yeah. Now, I hope I've not made the wrong choice here, but if you like the sound of this enough, then you might want to try it as well. So the other one is Doom and Destiny Advanced, which it sounds a bit shit, doesn't it? Really.
Doom and Destiny.
Yeah, Doom and Destiny Advanced.
D&D. Hasn't that been done?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. It's probably is parodying that to some extent. It's an RPG, kind of turn-based sort of thing, looks kind of like old school Final Fantasy or something like that. But there's quite a lot of humour to it. So the blurb for this one is, nerds are back in this preposterous turn-based RPG. So you play as a party of 4 nerds, kind of bumbling about in this fantasy world. I think you're kind of living your cosplay dreams.
That sounds alright.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. That one is £1.68. So if you're feeling really flush this week, you might want to give that a go as well. I'll leave that up to you.
Well, yeah, I'll speak to the bank manager, see if I can get a loan. And if I can, then maybe I'll try and both.
Max out your credit card.
Yeah, well, that's it. I don't want, debt collectors turning up at my door.
No, quite right. Well, I'll leave you. I'll leave you to make a decision there. Look forward to hearing about it next week. So I'll move on to my bargain bin bundle bollocks game of the week. This was from a Humble Bundle. Have you heard of Humble Bundle?
I have, through you.
So they started the whole kind of indie bundle craze, really. So they're quite famous for it. Now, this one was, I think, games from Japan or something like that.
Excellent.
Made in Japan, that kind of thing. Now, this was a bit of a dearer one. I really splashed out on this one. I think I paid a total of about $10.
Oh, man.
Got about 8 or 9 games for my troubles.
Well, I'd hope so.
You would, wouldn't you, at that price?
Especially if you had to pay for what's it charge?
A currency conversion.
Yeah.
I think through PayPal. I don't think it does charge you.
Oh, good.
So it cost me about £6 something altogether. So less than £1 a game for some wonderfully wacky Japanesey games. We do like our Japanesey games, don't we?
Definitely.
Now this one stood out to me because, well, I read a couple of reviews on it, and it said that it was meant to be quite pervy and stuff.
Oh, excellent.
So I thought it'd be a good one to take a look at.
Oh, they always are.
But I actually feel like I've failed. I've failed you. I've failed the audience.
Well, it's not pervy enough.
No, it is pervy. It's definitely quite pervy. But the whole point of this feature is to find shit games.
Oh, it's good.
I actually bloody love it.
Well, now this is interesting, because I think that's a good thing. I think it's good that there can be the odd diamond in the rough.
I'd agree with that.
With this
I'd
feature.
agree with that. Yeah, it's actually genuinely really, well, I say really good. I find it really good. It might not appeal to other people. It's a JRPG. To my to my mind, it does quite a few things differently. It's got quite a few unique sort of systems about it and unique ideas. So it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Wait, before you go into all this, shouldn't you actually say what the fucking game's called?
Oh, bloody hell, I haven't even mentioned it, have I? I named the bundle and everything. Okay, so this is Hyperdimension, Neptunia, Birth 1.
Right, I'm loving that, because then that means this week we've had a colon and a semicolon.
And a semicolon. And I honestly have no idea what the semicolon's for.
No,
I don't have a clue.
I think that's just grammatically incorrect.
I think it's just Japan, isn't it? They do whatever the hell they like, and who can blame them? And that same kind of philosophy extends to their games, really. It's pretty crazy. It's quite self-aware, though. The actual world of the game is called, well, it's spelt differently, but it's called Game Industry. That's how it's pronounced.
Wait, what's this, sorry?
So the name of the world is pronounced Game Industry.
Oh, right. How's it pronounced? Spelled?
I think it's like GAMINDUSTRI or something. I can't remember.
Right, okay.
So the main premise is that there's 4 CPUs, kind of leaders of different lands, that fight in the console wars, the Great Console Wars. So it's kind of some kind of parody of what goes on with Xbox versus Nintendo versus Sony and all that malarkey.
Yep.
But there's just quite a few funny jokes throughout. It doesn't... Well, I say some of it's funny, some of it tries to be funny. It isn't exactly hilarious, but...
it's often the way I found with games.
Yeah, it is. Games are a medium which struggles with comedy.
I'd agree with that.
But it's definitely very quirky. So it's a JRPG, and usual RPG trope, your main character gets amnesia.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It happens every time, doesn't it? I think with something like this where it almost sort of breaks the fourth wall, where it's kind of quite self-referential, it's probably done on purpose. It's probably purposely stereotypical. So your main character gets amnesia. She was one of the CPUs, they're called. They're basically crazy female robot warriors, all in skimpy outfits,
of course,
as you can imagine. But they all then transform back into young girls, like normal-looking girls.
Right.
So yeah, they're a young girl, and then they could transform into a crazy,
sexy
skimpy,
CPU.
Yeah, sexy robot warriors.
So it's just what, puberty or something?
Probably, yeah, something like that. But it happens in a flash.
That's a bit weird. So
it is a bit weird.
Does that mean they are young girls, or they're old girls? Are they young girls that look old?
Now, this is one of the dodgiest parts. Now, I actually enjoyed the game so much. I've played it over the weekend. I've probably played it a total of sort of 7 or 8 hours. I actually bought a bit of DLC for it.
Oh my god.
I know. What am I doing? And that's given me a couple of extra characters to play with. One of them, she looks about 10... because most of them could probably sort of pass for 18 in the weird kind of anime way.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But one of them does literally look about 10.
Yeah.
But then when she transforms into the crazy robot woman, she's just got massive boobs and looks like an older woman.
Yeah.
It's weird, really bizarre.
Isn't that the same with all of them, from what you were saying?
Well... all the others at least start looking around 18-ish.
Oh, right.
And fully developed. But then she actually goes from a child to a woman.
I thought that's what you were implying for all of them.
Well, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
So, it does sound like they are physically changing, like form. Or is it just... Well, with her she's changing form, this new one. But with the others, were they just changing outfit? Or were they changing form as well?
They do look different. but beforehand they at least look about 18 probably ish.
Yeah.
Whereas then they look at like different adult females. I'm not really painting it in a very good light so far, and quite rightly, to be honest. This is definitely one of the biggest issues about this game and many other anime games, really, is that there's always got to be some kind of perversion going on.
No, there has to be. It wouldn't be an anime game without it.
No. So that's the only part which makes you feel somewhat guilty for playing it. But the actual gameplay itself is really interesting. Going back to what we said about how you can choose to make a game complex, this has quite a lot of different systems to it, which I'm only sort of slowly getting the hang of all of them. And a few of them I've not really worked out until a bit later on. I've realised that I've not been using things to my advantage. I realised that I've got certain skills that I didn't even know I had and all that kind of thing. So at first I found it quite hard, but as I've got the hang of everything, then it's now more manageable. Some of the boss fights are still quite tricky though. So I'll try to explain the combat. The walk around the overworld, well, there's an overworld map where you choose where to go, but then there's the levels themselves. Walking around, that's quite simple. So you can actually see the enemies.
Sorry, just before we're going to... When you're wandering around the general overworld and the map and stuff, are you in normal mode or slutty mode?
Normal mode.
Right, okay.
But you can turn into Slutty Robot Warrior in the fight, and then that makes you more powerful.
So is it only in the fight that you can turn into Slutty Robot Warrior?
Yeah, although it happens sometimes in the story and stuff as well.
I see. Right, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm with you.
So in the fight, you can choose to remain in a standard mode. Some of the characters so far haven't actually got the special mode. I don't know if they do get it. But yeah, you trigger a fight by walking into an enemy. You can actually see them walking around, and you can attack them first to get the advantage. Again, it uses sort of tropes from video game culture. There's a kind of fat, nerdy otaku, which is sort of the Japanese term for a nerd who's really into anime.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one of the enemies. There's an enemy which looks like the pipes from Super Mario.
Okay.
Lots of weird stuff like that. So the combat itself is turn-based. Each character can do several different attacks in one go. There's 3 types of attacks. One's to kind of break down their defenses. One's to do more standard damage. I'll try not to make this too complicated, but you can select from all your different skills and use them in battle as you see fit. And the combat's quite interesting because there is sort of quite a range of skills you can use. You've then got special attacks. You've got assist attacks where you combine with other characters. You've got kind of finisher attacks when you build up a EXE bar. There's all sorts going on. And I quite like how positioning on the battlefield is important. You can walk around in your turn. You can walk around as much as you like, and then choose where to attack, and it highlights where you're going to attack. So you've got to try and line it up so you attack as many enemies in one go as you can.
Yep.
And that's when you start launching all of your attacks. And it's really good how it's got a lot of depth to it. And as I say, it took me a long time to work all of it out, and some of it I'm still getting my head around. There's loads of different weird items. There's something called plans, where you can create items and stuff from like materials you find. You can make things which change the game world, open up new dungeons, change the items you get, make enemies harder or easier. Loads of stuff going on. So I've actually got pretty addicted to it.
So how many hours do you reckon you've pumped into it?
Yeah, over the weekend it has been about 7 or 8 hours I've played it.
And do you think you've got quite far in the overall story, or?
Maybe a quarter or so.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It turns out, I mean, this is Hyperdimension Neptunia Birth 1. So there's a number 2, which I'd probably move on to at some point.
I was going to say, it sounds like you're going to get that.
Hopefully that turns up in a bundle, you never know. I think there's some other kind of games by the same developer which are probably similar, so I'll have to check them out at some point. So I've been quite surprised. Yeah, this week the game hasn't been bollocks at all. It's actually been pretty good. Aside from the whole weird perversion and the old dodginess with character ages and all that kind of thing, which I'm not too fond of, but
it just sounds a bit weird. Like it, I guess it kind of. I'm trying to. So these women are CPUs. Does that mean they were CPUs before they were girls, or they were girls before they were CPUs?
That's a very good question. I don't know.
Just yeah. Well, maybe you need to read up on your hyperdimension lore.
Perhaps. Yeah. That's probably a good idea.
As an avid fan, that might be a road you go down.
Yeah, maybe.
I think what I would say is... sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I can't tell whether it's because you forked out a bit of extra money or whether it's just good luck, but the value of this game, if you compare it to like that Go-Go Nipple Girls, where it was just like reading text.
Yeah.
And then this just sounds like a fully formed JRPG.
Now, don't get me wrong, I think there are probably a couple of visual novels chucked into the bundle as well. And there's one other really, really interesting looking one, which I don't want to spoil now because I might use it for a future feature. A future feature.
Well, I think you'll have to now you said that.
Yeah, I don't want to let anything on, but that seems pretty special.
Well, maybe that's what we should do, since you forked out so much this week.
Yeah, get my value out of it.
Yeah,
definitely. I might have to do that. Cool. So maybe that'll be the one I use next week.
Excellent.
Sweet. Well, should we move on to news?
Yeah, let's do that.
That'd be good. The main thing over the last week or so, really, I know we're a bit late recording this, we're a bit later than usual, but the main thing we've had recently has been Gamescom. So it's a games show in Germany. I think it's an annual thing. It's a bit of a weird one because it's not that long after E3. So most companies have kind of
blown the load on E3, and then
they're fully spent from E3.
They've just got the backup.
That's it, just a little dribble. Just a little dribble to come out. Just
a little bit at the end. But I guess there is this strategy that some people might, hold back the full load to spray on this one. But
no, and that's quite right, because Sony, they completely drained themselves dry at E3. They had nothing to say at Gamescom. They didn't even bother with a conference. But Microsoft held a few things back, and I think it was actually a good idea for them to do that. Obviously, it's no secret that the Xbox One is trailing behind, and I think they had a somewhat solid E3 showing, and now they've had a few things to mention in this one as well. Albeit not massive news, massively exciting, but a few bits and bobs here and there, which is interesting. So, one of the main announcements was there's a new Halo Wars 2. Now, I don't know about you, I never played the first Halo Wars.
No, I was going to ask you, I believe it was reasonably well received. I'm going to say outright that I'm not a massive fan of the Halo franchise in general.
You're not?
No.
Okay.
I've played them, especially the first one back in the day, and enjoyed it. But I don't know. I think Master Chief is, in my opinion, another overrated protagonist.
Oh, absolutely.
Kratos.
He's not the best. He does hail from a time like with the old Half-Lives, where you had your silent protagonist, didn't really have any personality. It was just kind of a vehicle to get you through the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even his name's a fucking joke. How people can say Master Chief
and take it seriously. Like,
isn't his real name something like John Smith or something?
Yeah, I think
ordinary.
it is. Yeah,
something like that. John something or other. I don't know.
But no, yeah, but Master Chief makes me think of Big Boss as well. From the Metal Gear.
I suppose so.
And I love Big Boss, but obviously, like, it just comes back from a day where it was just a big boss.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Like, oh, well, we're working with this name. Master Chief. Like, yeah, might as well just be like, I don't know.
So usually he's shooting.
Yeah.
Usually he's shooting away, but this time he's strategizing in a.
Or is it him? Is it him personally?
Well, probably not. I don't know if he really features that much in it, to be honest. I don't think we've actually seen a lot. Well, pretty much anything in the way of gameplay. I think it's just a cinematic trailer. But it's basically going to be it's going to be kind of an RTS. I imagine it'll be stripped back. I think the first Halo Wars was somewhat simplified from some PC RTSs. For it to work well on console, I think it has to be somewhat simplified.
Is it only on console, or is it on PC and console?
I think this time it's actually coming to Windows 10.
That makes sense.
I think, but the last one was just Xbox.
Okay.
So, we'll see what happens with that, see how it progresses. Another bit of Xbox One news was, the controller is getting a chat pad, which is something that'll appeal to some people. It's basically a little ugly clip-on accessory that snaps onto your controller and gives you a mini keyboard for chatting.
Right.
That's going to appeal to some people. Personally, with my PS4 on that, I prefer to use a separate Bluetooth keyboard, which is kind of bigger and easier to type on, but
yeah,
you can see the pros and cons of either. It's also getting like DVR recording, sort of recording of over-the-air TV, which is, I don't know, it's useful to some people probably, isn't it? One of those things I wouldn't give a crap about. I don't even pay for a TV license. I don't even watch live telly.
Oh, well, I'm glad you followed up with that second statement, otherwise they might have been around.
They'd be on to me, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They'd be around. No, don't watch any of that. That's what Netflix and stuff's for.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Oh well. But yeah, they had a bit of news in that respect. And also we saw quite a bit of Crackdown 3. Did you watch the trailer for that?
I did.
What did you think to it?
I think on the whole, it didn't appeal to me, but...
Did it not?
No.
Did you like the first Crackdowns? That's the question.
I haven't played any Crackdowns.
Oh, no. You're missing out.
Oh.
Crackdown's brilliant. Really good. To be honest, probably looking at it without any context of what the Crackdown games are like, I can imagine why it wouldn't really appeal to you that much.
I don't know. I don't know whether it was just like the look and feel of it, like especially like that. The cheesy thing at the start. Like, I can't remember exactly what it says. Like something like, "It's time to go to work" or something. This is some generic guy.
Yes.
And
now there was always that voiceover that played a big part in the first two games. You had, and I think it's kind of intentional, kind of B-movie sort of reference with this cheesy voiceover. Kind of telling you, he refers to you as agent, and he's always telling you what to do, where to go next, what mission to do.
Right.
So that was always kind of a staple of the game. It's hard to fully illustrate why the Crackdown games were good. I think one of the main things was just there's so much freedom, and the movement was so good. It's one of the first open world games that let you really explore and kind of navigate the world with so much kind of acrobatic skill and finesse. You'd literally just be sprinting across rooftops, jumping all over the place. Really fun. One thing they've highlighted this time is that they're finally using the Microsoft Cloud thingy bob. Don't know if you've heard of that.
Oh, I don't even remember that in the trailer.
It mentioned it briefly. So what it is, they announced this. They made a big hoo-ha over it when they first announced the Xbox One, that by connecting it to Microsoft servers, the servers would do some calculations, like CPU calculations, which the Xbox One itself couldn't manage, and then feed that back to the machine. And what that in effect does is it lets it have more advanced physics than the console could actually cope with by itself.
Oh yeah, no, I do remember that. Didn't they say like 20 times? I was like, I was a bit confused by what was going on about there. But yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, I actually read more into it, so that's why. If it wasn't for that, I might have not really known much of what was going on. So what it means is the buildings can be all like fully leveled to the ground. It's going to have really realistic destruction models, which is pretty cool.
I think that was the thing I found the most interesting from the trailer.
It's good how they've done that, because to achieve that, it has to be always online, which pisses some people off. But to kind of compromise there's a separate single player aspect to the game.
Yep.
Which you can play offline, and then they've got the online only multiplayer section with all the cloud computing thrown in and all the destruction and everything.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way of doing it. That's cool. There's also tons of other trailers of games. I don't know if you saw anything else.
Nope.
I've not got around to catching up, but we saw loads of things. Some more on Halo 5, Scalebound, which is kind of a dragon-y game. That looked alright, I guess. Saw some Dark Souls 3. That looked very Dark Souls.
Yeah.
That's cool. Homefront: The Revolution, that's still ticking along. I think that's on its third development studio now. Bit of a weird one, that one. The first Homefront, it wasn't very successful, but now they've made a sequel, or they're making a sequel, and it keeps kind of being postponed and then picked up by another development studio and all that.
Yeah.
I've got a funny little story about that, actually. The studio who's developing it is actually right near us. In Nottingham.
Oh, right.
It's right near where we work.
Yeah. Go on.
I can't remember the name. I think it begins with a D. Is it Dambuster Studios?
I don't know.
Yeah, Dambuster Studios, I think. I actually entered a competition to appear in the game.
Oh, please tell me you won.
I haven't. Well, I've not heard from them. It could still happen. But, well, I say competition. Basically, you applied, sent them a picture of you.
Well, that's where you went wrong.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Yeah, so I forwarded on a picture. And if they just kind of choose whoever they want in, you go there for the day, have an hour of sort of motion capture or something on your face, and then they give you 50 quid and set you on your way.
I reckon there's just going to be some hot girl from Nottingham in it.
Probably. More than likely. I think the problem is I would have represented 90% of the applicants, as in young, white, male, nerd. So they'll have only wanted so many young, white, male, nerdy-looking people.
Yep.
So they'd have also wanted various ethnicities, ages, sexes, whatever else.
Yep.
So I think that's probably my issue. I've probably got a lot of competition there, which is a shame.
Were they just... So how many people were they picking to go in it?
They didn't say. It's only for like NPCs.
Yeah.
So just your general civilians in the game. So they're not going to want hundreds and hundreds.
No. Oh, that's quite cool, though.
There's still a chance I could hear back. Who knows?
I reckon so. I reckon they're listening now, and you'll get a phone call in a few days.
That'd be good. Shall we move on to upcoming releases? Because we're in danger of this being a very long podcast like last week's, which is nice, perhaps.
Yeah, no, that's cool with me, man. Let's do it.
Have you seen much of what's coming out?
I've only really read the notes. I haven't done any digging, unfortunately.
There's not much overly exciting.
Well, you say that, but Toy Soldiers, mate.
Toy Soldiers War Chest. We've got that on the 11th. I don't know anything about it. Toy Soldiers, they've been out for years, haven't they? Started on the PS1.
I think I played it on PS1.
You probably did.
A demo. You get what you got with the magazine.
Oh, I used to love demos, because back then when you were a kid, you couldn't afford many full games, so you just play all your demo discs from your mags.
I did thoroughly play demo discs. Quite see.
So this is a new Toy Soldiers. If I guess that's what you want, then go for it. Yeah, that's all we can say about that, I guess.
Oh yeah, I can't add to that.
Next up, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is coming out on the PS4 and Xbone.
And you like this one, don't you?
Oh, I do like this one. So I played it on PC. I think it's also on PS3, maybe 360. I don't know. Yeah, I really like it. It's a lot like Journey, but I enjoyed it a lot more. I thought the characters were more interesting. You kind of felt empathy for them. The world was really pretty. It's quite nice to explore, and there's a bit more interactive than Journey, where you're literally just walking. So I recommend that. You might have to check that out. I don't know if that appeals to you at all, but
yeah,
it's pretty good.
I seem to remember thinking it looked alright back in the day, but I'll rewatch a trailer or a review or something.
I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out on PS Plus at some point.
That's part of the problem with PS Plus, isn't it? It makes you hold back a little bit.
Yeah, and often that does pay off.
Yeah,
it does pay off. Next up, Bedlam. That's on the 13th of August. That's another multi-platform one.
Isn't Bedlam a back to Bedlam? No, that's James Blunt.
Oh, bloody James Blunt.
But no,
love him.
Bedlam's a board game, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. It might be. This isn't a board game.
Wait,
I can tell you.
Let me do
much.
A search.
Oh, please do. Please do. Finding anything?
Sorry, I was just looking up a few things. Okay, Bedlam, Wikipedia.
Just browsing YouPorn.
Well, I thought seeing as
Facebook.
Oh no, yeah, that's worked. Yeah. So I thought whilst I was searching, I'd also, I was talking about the lesbian game earlier. When we were saying, what games are good for people that like lesbians? Fear Effect. That was the name of it.
Oh, that rings a bell. I don't think I've ever played it. Was it on PS2?
It might have been PS2. Soon find out.
Rings a bell. Ish.
Fear Effect. Google's good,
It is, isn't it? Find quite a bit on there.
It works well for finding things. Sorry, yeah. There we are. Yeah, it's on. It looks like it's on Amazon. Okay, so... Yeah, Fear Effect was on the original PlayStation. And a prequel, Fear Effect 2, Retro Helix, came out 2 years later. I'm not sure which was the one with the lesbians or whether they both had lesbians. According to this, there is a Bedlam board game on Amazon. There we go.
Oh, well done. Thanks, Google.
But yeah, so this isn't the board game. And it's not a James Bond album.
This is, in fact, an indie shooter. I've not looked too much into it, but it's quite an interesting idea. It's kind of a shooter through the ages. So you start out with kind of Doom-style levels, then it kind of ramps up. You'll have Quake-style gameplay, and then I suppose it gets to more modern, probably like Half-Life, and then more modern FPSs. Quite an interesting concept. Don't know if I'll try it. Moving on. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture on PS4. Don't know if about that. It's an indie game.
Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. Oh. The Rapture's where it's at.
Apparently. It's a party we're missing out on.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
No. Discstorm is next. That's another multi-platform. That looks alright. It's kind of a co-op, top-down. It almost looks a little bit like Towerfall,
Oh yeah,
but I think it's co-op,
right.
like against enemy bosses and stuff, as opposed to against each other. And it's top down as opposed to side on. And instead of arrows, you've got discs. Hence the name Discstorm. Kind of looks like crazy frisbees.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
that makes sense.
It's quite nifty. Yeah. And finally, Zombie U. But it's not Zombie U. It's Zombie. Because it's not on Wii U anymore.
So, does that have an E in zombie?
No.
So it's Zombi.
Zombi. Yes, Zombi.
So it's bisexual zombies. Is that?
I hope so.
That's what I'm getting from it.
Probably.
So
Probably.
it was on the Wii U. What's it coming to now?
PS4, Xbone, and I think PC as well.
Oh, good. That was supposed to be really good. Although I do seem to remember it used the Wii U remote quite a lot.
So I'm not sure how they're getting around that. Be a bit of a challenge for them. I'm not sure how they've done that, because it's actually one of the few Wii U games that made proper use of it.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I've had it for months and I've not really played it on Wii U.
Yeah, that's a shame. Maybe we should.
Through no fault of the game, it's just I've not got round to it.
No, well, that's it.
Oh well.
So many games to play. So little time.
So many games. Especially when you're buying 10 a week shitty indie games in a bundle.
Yeah.
Did you know my Steam library is now sitting at about 430 games because of all these crappy indie games I'm adding to it?
Oh.
Not that all indie games are crappy, but a lot of these are.
Well, that's good news for any of your friends on Steam who can just nip in and play these shitty games.
Well, quite right. Quite right. With family sharing.
That's the one.
It's a good feature. Cool, so that's all I could see that was coming out. Nothing overly exciting. A few ports and some other bits and bobs, but we're still in that summery period. I think it ramps up a bit towards the end of August. We've got some more to look forward to then, I reckon.
Yeah. Some big guns.
Big guns. Cool. Is there anything else you wanted to mention, or shall we wrap it up?
No, I think that's it for me. From this end.
Wonderful.
How about yourself?
Well, not a lot other than to say, obviously this one is a bit delayed, just through various reasons, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But, oh well, it's here now. At least the last one was long. Hopefully that kept you going. And I'm guessing this one's going to be quite long as well.
Yeah, if you got through that one, you get through this one, then you deserve a medal.
But you probably do. Just don't shut up, do we?
No.
Cool. So
I haven't checked if there's any reviews, so if you've left us a review, I'm sorry, we haven't checked. If you haven't left us a review,
shouldn't we?
Please do. But yeah, if you have, then we'll give you a shout out next time. Otherwise, we're still sitting on no reviews. But we'll see. We'll see.
Cool. Well, thanks for tuning in. It's been wonderful to talk about shit to you.
Yeah, shit games and shit games. Or no, not so many shit games this time.
Not many shit games this week. No, there's been quite a few decent ones. That's all right, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. High quality games.
Yes, that's what we like. Well then, we'll speak to you again soon.
Yes.
Farewell.
Thanks very much. See ya.
Good work.
Good work, hombre. You've got some bonus shit here.
Oh yes, we like some bonus shit.
We do.
So this was a little bit of an aside. This happened about a week or so ago. About a week ago, maybe. Basically, Sony fucked up. Silly Sony.
Oh dear.
Well, it's not an oh dear mo. Oh dear for them. It was rather good for me and quite a few others. It popped up on Hot UK Deals. They'd accidentally set 3 different games as being free.
Okay.
On the PSN. They'd accidentally set them as PS Plus titles. What had happened is these were for certain countries, but they'd accidentally set them free for Europe, which it wasn't meant to happen.
Ah.
So there was Flow, which is a pretty nifty game. It's quite an old one now. I played it back on PSP.
Yeah, I remember the name, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what it was.
It's, like that Agario game where you're blobs swallowing other blobs.
Oh yeah,
coloured blobs. Yeah, it's like that.
Oh,
but you're a weird sea creature going around gobbling other sea creatures and growing in size.
Huh. Yeah, it does sound similar.
I don't know if you're a sea creature. I think you might meant to be like evolutionary little creatures. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, that does ring a bell now.
So there was that. I managed to nab that for my Vita. I think my PS4, so that was cool. I will say, if you'd have been there, I'd have told you. But I literally found out at last minute, just before they cancelled it. So the other two games were Woe Dave, which I'm not really very fond of, and then Flower.
Woe Dave. We've all had to say that at some point, but
calm it down, Dave. Calm it down.
Woe Dave, just back off. You've had too many, and keep it in your pants.
Yes.
Is that what it's about?
Sadly, no. I think it's a bit like Super Crate Box, which is, I don't know, I think it's a bit like that. It's kind of a side-on 2D. It's not a platformer as such. I'm not a big fan. It's alright, I guess.
Okay.
It was free. Shouldn't have been free, but it was free. So, there you go. But then there was Flower, but sadly, I was literally a few minutes too late. They'd fixed the mistake by then. Because I really wanted Flower.
Yeah, that would
have heard good things.
That would have been a good one. Well, you could always pay for it.
Pay actual money?
Like a decent...
Who do you think I am?
Decent human being.
Yeah, exactly. A decent human being. This is me you're talking to.
True, yeah. We're a thrifty podcast.
We are. We like a good deal.
We do.
I mean, bloody hell, I paid £6 odd for a bundle. That's skinted me enough as it is.
That was unheard of for us.
So I was disappointed that I didn't get that one, but it was nice to get Flow.
Yeah.
So I played it back on the PSP, so it was cool to play that on my Vita. I'd have told you about it. I think it happened about 9 o'clock in the morning. I saw it at work. I quickly added them to my PSN account, and then by the time you were in, they'd fully closed it. Which was upsetting. It's not the first time they fucked up. They've done this before with some other PSN games that weren't meant to be free for a certain region, but they made them free. But the best one I had was Killzone.
Oh wow!
I don't know if I told you about this. Killzone on PS4.
Yeah.
So this was...
I think you did tell me about this. But yeah, sorry.
I might have done back in the day. So this was a while ago. This was quite shortly after I got my PS4. Probably a year or so ago. About a year ago.
Yeah.
Maybe. Have I had my PS4 a year? I don't know. I've lost track. Anyway, so what they did this time, they accidentally set... You could get some silly little icons. A little icon pack or something as DLC, which was like 75p. And they accidentally made it so that if you bought the icon pack, you actually bought the full game. Which is pretty incredible. So when I found out about this little glitch on Hot UK Deals, I bought it straight away. I scored it for 75p.
I wonder how Hot UK Deals are so on it. Like, how many people are working for them?
Well, what it is, it's all community based.
Right. Yeah, I don't really use it very often. I just get it through you.
Oh, mate, it's brilliant. It's worthwhile. So many good games deals on there. Well, it's good and it's bad because it encourages you to spend money.
Yeah, true.
Which is an issue. But basically it's community based. So if anyone... You have some dedicated deal hunters out there who love looking out for the latest deals. But then obviously if someone accidentally, buys an icon pack because they're a bit of a tard and they want some daft icons for some reason, and then they're like, hang on a minute, this just bought the full game.
It'd be pretty weird for someone to buy an icon pack without having the game.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point. Although, actually, I imagine... You see, what actually happened is I had the physical game, the physical copy, which I bought, but then this was to buy it on PSN. So it's probably the same for someone else. They had a physical disc, they bought the Icon pack, and then they had it on their PSN account.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That is what I'd guess. That's what I'd guess. So, yeah, so that was pretty good. I was chuffed with that. Killzone for 75p.
Can't complain with that.
I'll let you know if there's any other glitches in the future, because Sony are good like that. They keep giving us some accidental freebies.